down the middle. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Chris here, and I have some stories to tell you guys. I'm going to try to do my best to remember everything as it happened, but of course, I might miss some things, or I might be paraphrasing some stuff people said. But basically, I want to go over some stories of things that happened to me when I was working at Dollar General, because that was one of the worst things I've ever had to go through. You know, on a scale of crappy jobs. So, I'm gonna kind of try to, I didn't plan out the stories, I know I tried to remember them a while back. I'm gonna try to pull them from my brain as I'm doing the video, because I'm just trying to, get some videos out. And they're not gonna be entirely in order. I'm gonna start off with one of the more shocking ones, one that actually I felt actually extremely unsafe with this story, because it happened over the course of a couple weeks, and with the same person. I was a sales associate, so I was stocking, I was doing rotation for products, and I was working the register and unloading trucks and stuff. So basically, when I was doing all that, obviously since I'm checking people out at the register, there was this kid who kept coming up to me, okay? He came in one day, and he seemed like an alright guy. He's just like, I don't know, 19 or something like that. And the thing is about living here in Michigan is everyone comes up to me, and everyone always wants to share their story. I find out so much about people the first time I meet them, it's ridiculous. This kid walks up and basically shares his life story about him being an orphan, and then adopted, and then living with his mom, who's a psychopath, who apparently was another customer of ours that I had already met her before. I didn't know it was his mom, but she came in and whatever have you, and then he's explained the story to me. I'm like, oh, okay, and I don't know how to get myself out of a conversation. I don't care at all about anything any of these people have to say most of the time, so I'm just like, just kind of being nice and going along with it, and I'm not doing anything else. He's not holding up a line, so we're just talking, and then eventually, so he gets some stuff, and then he starts asking me about what I do. I was like, I do YouTube. I explain like the whole YouTube writing and music, and I just like make stuff kind of thing. I give him that whole spiel, and he's like, oh, okay, that's cool. He starts telling me about how he's like into music and making music, and he's trying to do like solo gigs and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, good for you, dude. And on another occasion, he asked me about like my haircut, because that was back when I had like my more emo, anime, spiky styled hair. He's like, what do you call that hairstyle? I don't know. What does that mean? It doesn't have a name. I don't know. So I just kind of give him a half-ass. It's just what I do. I spike up at the top, use whatever have you. And he's like, I want to get my hair cut just like yours. That's awesome. So he starts like trying to like buddy and get with me, and he buys a Monster energy drink. Okay, one time. Then he leaves. A minute later, comes back in, returns the Monster, gets another one, leaves. Another minute later, comes back in because he had a question, leaves. 10 minutes later, comes back, returns the Monster, and then leaves. I think he was asking about, like, do we have, like, a good DVD player or something. So basically, in the span of, like, 20 minutes, that he came in and out of the store, like, 4 times. At this point, I'm like, this kid needs to get the hell lost. He's irritating the crap out of me. He's suspicious, and I don't trust him, okay? So he's doing all that stuff, and then, there's one time where I was trying to leave work. I was getting out at, like, 4 o'clock or something, 4 p.m. So I go out to my car, and I sit out in my car, and then he catches me out of my car, so I'm like, shit, now he knows what my car looks like. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and he holds me in the parking lot, I'm not kidding, for like 40 minutes. Like 40 minutes just talking in my window. He's like basically leaning on my car so I can't just drive away. And then he's just talking about random stuff. It's obvious, I'm like this, talking to him, just, yeah. I'm not trying to extend the conversation, I'm not asking any questions, I'm just trying to get out of the situation. I'm too nice to people's faces to just like peel out and leave or tell him to get bent. I was getting really sick of him. And then come to find out, after all this stuff, after he's been irritating me for a couple weeks, he starts asking my manager what my schedule is. Okay, so he's trying to figure out when I work. And then she's like, I told him I can't disclose that information. And I hated my manager, but she was sometimes cool with stuff like this. And I was like, okay, good, thank you. This is getting crazy. This kid's driving me nuts. And then she's like, yeah, he said that he had your phone number, but then he got a new phone, or he lost it, or he tried to get a hold of you through your phone number, but it wasn't the right number. So he was trying to get my phone number from my manager so he could contact me directly, or he was asking for my work schedule, my phone number, my Facebook, and all, like, a lot of my personal information, trying to get a hold of me. Like, do you know where he lives? We can, because he told me where he kept saying, like, yeah, we're friends, but he was just trying to reacquire information or something like that, trying to dig for information about me. And when she told me that, I'm like, I have a stalker. I officially have a stalker. From where I live right now before I move, I'm like less than a mile from my work. So I'm like, if he even goes in this direction, he might be able to see my car from my driveway. And I was getting like for weeks, I was super paranoid about this kid. Like, you have no idea. I was thinking he's gonna like break into my house, because I see some weird stories. You see some weird Snapchat, Instagram, and YouTube stuff about crazy people locking onto a personality and then breaking into their house and like sitting at the edge of the bed just like watching them sleep. And I don't think that would happen to me, but you never know. And I'm super paranoid about stuff like that. I know I'm not that big of a personality at all, but it's still a valid thing to be freaked out about when somebody does stuff like that. He was asking my manager for that. He was asking other people I worked with about my personal information and just saying how good of friends we were. To eventually, at one point, where whenever he would come in, I would just give him the cold shoulder. I would not talk to him. I would even be like, I would look at my coworker Savannah, and be like, "He's here," and she's like, "Is he really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go hide in the back. Can you take care of the register?" She's like, "Yeah, of course." So I would dip into the back, and he would walk around the store essentially looking for me. He knew my car was there and he'd be looking for me. He would walk around for like 10, Savannah would tell me that he was just circling the store, not buying anything, and then he would leave, looking for me. And then if he came up to the register, if I was there checking him out, he was like, "Hey, yeah, how's it going, man? You're my best. You do music?" He was just like all gung-ho and happy and go lucky and just super into me or whatever. But if it was anyone else but me, he was just, "Thank you." And he would walk out, buy his stuff and leave, disappointed that it wasn't me checking him out. So that happened all the time, where he would come in and I would just have to bail. I would hide in the office. If I saw him, I would just ignore him. If I had to I'm serious, it got to the point where I was so creeped out and so stressed over this kid that when I did actually like wind up checking him out, because I had like a line and he would jump in the line, so obviously I can't bail mid-line and have someone take over for me because I'm signed into the computer and stuff, so I would have to check him out. And my chest is hurting thinking about it now, because I would see him, my heart would just go like, I would start shaking and I couldn't talk because I was getting super anxious about it. I'm not good with confrontation, and I'm not good with people who I don't understand, I don't resonate with, and he was definitely an enigma like that, and I had to get away from him kind of thing. So eventually, how this story pretty much ends, because I'm trying to think of more examples, I can't think of more, but basically my boss, my manager, had to confront him and tell him that he was not allowed to do anything like that in the store. If he did again, then she would call the cops. And eventually he still kept coming in, but he would come in with less joy in his eyes. Yeah, he would only come in when I was there, and if he didn't see me, he wouldn't buy anything and he would just leave. And eventually I stopped seeing him, and I have not seen him since I haven't worked there, so thank fucking God for that. And it's just some little 19-year-old dude. I don't even know, like, he doesn't even seem that threatening, but he's not right kind of thing. So, coming from New Hampshire with a population of less than 2,000 people, and less than 2% of that 2,000 people anything other than Caucasian, so Hispanic, Black, Asian, Eastern, whatever have you, all that was less than 2% of the population of my town and surrounding towns. So I was not very exposed to homosexuals, anybody of varying ethnicity for the most part, and just really anybody with any kind of modern views on society and politics. So coming to Michigan, it's a whole new ball game. Okay, I've run into homeless people, I run into the crazy kid, I run into a lot of other black people, and then I have no problem with any of these people. They're all just people. Whatever have you. But it's all about how they interact with me. But I ran into the jackpot of this guy who came in, and he was super nice, but he was a homosexual black man, and he was very, very nice. And I caught him on multiple occasions checking out my ass and looking at my crotch. I'm not kidding. I'm not projecting like, oh, the gay man is checking me out, because that's a whole thing. Apparently guys like to project that gay people checking them out, but it's very clearly I caught him staring at me. I was doing stuff on the computer, checking out his stuff, and he kind of gave like this interested grin, but he like tilted his head and kind of like stood up nice and straight, and I saw him out of I had pretty good peripheral observation. I could see him out of my peripheral, just like looking down at the counter, kind of like checking like the lower and mid section of me, and he didn't do it like super, like he didn't do it like casually. He's not just like that. He was full on doing that, and I could see him like, the fuck is happening? Whew, my lord. So, but he was really nice, and he came in on a few times. He had the voice that I don't really like, the very effeminate voice. But again, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with him. Very nice guy. He came in on multiple occasions, and he was just super nice. But it was the first time I had an experience of just like I did tell you guys about the story of the drunk guy. That's a separate story, but how I almost got into a fight. I will actually link that at the end of this video and in the description because I don't want to tell it again. I tell it better in that video, but you can check that one out where I almost got into a fight with a drunk guy who I refused to sell more alcohol to. There was another small story of a lady who used to come all the time. I called her Skunkhead because she was like a Cruella de Vil type girl, and she was just like, she was like 48, obviously married some 69-year-old dude who was wealthy, and she's just like living off of him kind of thing. But even still, you could tell that she still came in and tried to rip us off with coupons, which was fucking annoying because I hate it. That was the worst thing, was coupon people. I hate you. But she came in once, and she always buys a specific type of cigarette. And she came in, bought all of her stuff. She always comes in like 10 minutes before we close, hoping that we would just accept her fake coupons because it was close to closing. But we're like, no, we're not doing that. We're fucking, you can't use this coupon, you can't use that coupon, you can't use any of these. Get out of here, pay for it like a person. But she would come in and do that, and it was like 5 minutes before we closed, and we finally got her out of the stores. Me and my buddy, my other manager that I worked with, who was a really cool dude. But eventually she left. But then she pushed her car out, she came back in, and she like said it really fast. She's like, I locked myself out of my car, if someone come to grab it, I need to light my cigarette. And she grabbed the lighter from the counter and walked out the door. And I'm standing there, she did it like that. And I looked at him, he looks at me, we're like, did we just get robbed? But then she comes back in and puts the lighter back, but she obviously used it to light. Was like, you can't just take a lighter to light the cigarette you just bought and put it back. You need to pay for that lighter. But me and him were just like, whatever, you know what? Whatever. We don't want to deal with this. She's been a pain in the ass. Just fucking whatever. She put it back, okay? She didn't actually steal it, but she did steal technically that tiny percentage of the lighter fluid. And that being said, I have had a lot of weird, creepy, crazy people come in to work when I did work at DG, but there were a lot of really nice people too. There was a lady who smelled terribly of cat piss. Like, she would come in and you just, what? There was another lady who ran in with her vomiting toddler, just carrying the baby, and like, not baby, but carrying like the 2-year-old in her arms as it was throwing up over her shoulder, getting like a trail of puke on the floor, bought herself some baby medicine, and then ran out the door, like just leaving a trail of vomit. And I'm just like, I gotta go clean that up. This sucks. There was always people who were trying to always steal. They would hide stuff like in the clothing racks, and they would actually, like, you have the shelving unit, okay? And you know how like a lot of shelves have like a little lip on the bottom, and it's like, well, you could actually lift up that raised platform, and people would hide stuff in that lift spot, and then they would have people like stand in the way of, they knew where the camera was, they'd lift it open and grab stuff and steal shit. That happened all the time. People were always trying to coupon scam, which is always such a pain. People would try to coupon scam and then come back a few days later and return the stuff, hoping to get full price for the stuff they paid discounted, which obviously did not work. Oh god, I remember this other guy who come in. He was like old and he stank. Like, he had, like, literally he hadn't, this isn't like assuming he hadn't, I know he hadn't showered at least in over a month, because I assume he lived alone. He was like 80 and was incapable of showering himself. But he would just come in and I'm getting sick thinking about it. I'm not kidding. Like, I just had a lump in my throat because he would come in and he would stink so bad, and he would get money from his wallet, but he'd hold his wallet like this, and he was always just drooling. He would just have an ocean of saliva. I hate saliva. And he was just always drooling onto his money, and he would just be like, and he just hand drool covered money to you, and you're just like, thank you. And he would give him his change, and he would leave, and it was really disgusting. He smelled like shit, like actual poop. He smelled like he had been swimming in elephant turd all day before coming in here, and then just started like puking saliva on everything he owned. One thing that really annoyed me too was during the summer was girls would always come in and keep money in their bra, which is disgusting. I don't want your sweaty tit money. If they would give me money, people would, this was one of the grossest things too, because when, working with money and anything like that, you never know where the money's been. You don't know how those people live their lives, what they're doing with their money, and you have to touch it. My hands, I had a picture of it on Instagram once, but my hands, I get at work, my hands were just black and dry from just touching money all day. It was disgusting. But people would often come in and they would pull money. And this is like fall, okay? This was like, no, not fall. This was in the winter, okay? So it was cold, and they'd pull money out of their pocket, and the money was just damp. It had a weight to it, you know? They'd hand that, and you just, what are you doing with this money? Put it in a wallet, you fucking animal. It's disgusting. and I had to put that in my register, I would take like a damp $1 bill and I'd put it at the bottom of the other $1 bills, and hopefully it would be dry by the end of the night. But I didn't have to count my till, so it didn't matter. But still, it was, oh, it's so gross. Oh my god. I've never hated human interaction more than working at a dollar store. You just see some weird characters. Oh, that's right, I just remembered. There was 2 times where I found random stuff left on shelves. I was just walking through the store and it was a slow day, like almost no one had been in there all day, and I was standing by the register. I don't know how it possibly happened, but one time there's like, so you have the register right here where I'm standing, the counter's in front of me, and then basically straight ahead, like 4 or 5 feet, and there's like another shelving unit, and around the shelving unit corner was like cookies and bread and stuff, so I could see it right from the counter. There's nothing blocking me, okay? I go to the shelf, it's late at night, and there's a bottle of like rum, I think it was rum, like an empty glass drinking container of just rum, just sitting on the shelf, and I'm like, what the fuck, what is, I picked it up, it's totally empty, and I'm like, what the fuck is that doing there? How did that get there? And why would someone leave it in the cookie aisle? If you're gonna leave it anywhere, try to put it with the other, like, you know, wine or something, but someone just left, like, hard liquor on the shelf, just empty. What is that doing there? So that was just interesting. Another time when I found something left on the shelf, as I was walking through, and somebody left a full, like, Taco Bell burrito still wrapped in its thing just on the shelf. It was just wrapped up, brand new, hadn't been touched, still had the sticker on it, wasn't even open. Someone just abandoned their lunch in the cereal aisle. I don't know why. Guys, I think that's going to be it for these stories right now. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. If I think of more, I will write them down. Maybe make a part 2 to this. I'm not sure. But I hope you guys enjoyed some of these short little stories. Let me know which one you found the most interesting. And if I do think of more, I promise I will make another video. I want to try to do some videos recounting my Michigan experience. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If you want to see more stories, check out the links pop up at the end of the video right after this and in the description below. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Don't move to Michigan.